Hi. In this video, we'll talk about Rudder 8.1 and more specifically, we'll do a walkthrough of the release notes. So let's get started. The first feature and also the most visible one are the new Rudder scores. Rudder always had a strong focus on compliance and visibility it provides to its users. And the Rudder score is the next step in this direction. We have different information about each systems, like its policy compliance, policy application compliance, the information about available upgrades, the information about vulnerabilities in the installed packages. All this information was scattered around the interface, and the idea with the scores is to make the information more visible and also provide aggregated view to give a higher level overview of the state of the systems. So for each subcomponent, we'll compute a score between A and F, A being the best. And then we will aggregate the scores for the different subcomponents to provide a global score for each node, which will be displayed in the node details and in the node list. So to show you how it looks like on a real Rudder 8.1 server, I'll go to the nodes list. And you can see here that we have a new column named score, which allows sorting the nodes by score and shows the global score for the node. But if you want to get more details, let's, for example, click on our node with an F score. And here you can see we have the details of the three subscores that make this global F score. We have a compliance score based on the compliance percentage. We have a vulnerability score based on the number of vulnerabilities and their criticity. And we have a system update score based on the number of available upgrades for the system. And all of this is aggregated to provide a global score for the node. And then you can click on the different links to get the details about the system more specifically. Score information will also soon be displayed on the dashboard in an upcoming patch release. The second feature in the compliance domain is the new compliance view for groups. Rudder has policy compliance views at different levels, node, rule, directives, and we've now added it to the remaining item that didn't have this compliance view, which are the groups. So if I go back to my test server and on the groups page, now if I open the details of one of my groups, I'll have a new tab, just like in rules and directives, which shows the compliance of the policies applied on this group. And I can see it by rule or by node, just like you have it in the rules page. And there's a small difference here, which is the choice between global or targeted compliance. Global means all policies applied to nodes on these groups, and targeted means only the policies specifically linked to this group by a rule. It gives a more precise view of what is exactly applied directly to this group. But for the rest, it works just like any other compliance view with the same filter, for example. Okay, so this was for the two compliance-oriented new features. Now we'll switch to the policies side. And we'll start with the policy mode override, which is a feature for more advanced users. The idea is that you can override the policy mode at the method or block level. Up until now, it was only possible on the nodes or directive level, but now it's also possible inside the techniques, the method or block level. This new feature is not supposed to be used like a policy mode on node or directive level, but more to allow unlocking some specific behaviors in techniques which were not possible until now. The first one is the ability to make actions even if in audit mode. So let's say you have an audit policy that needs to write a temporary file with some content it has to check. It was difficult because in audit mode, no action will be made, and specifically no file will be created. But with this new override ability, you can, for example, create a file modification method with an enforce override, and even if the technique is run in audit mode, it will run. So this allows making some audits that require actions to be made. On the opposite side, it also allows making audits in enforce policies, which is especially useful if you need to do some checks before you want to do some actions. Let's say you want to install a software, you can use a method overridden to audit to check if it's present, and then install it with an another method. These two use cases were pretty tricky before this new ability to override the policy mode. The second one is probably more interesting for most users because when you add parameters to a technique, all parameters until now were text fields, but it's now possible to provide a set of possible values. So it's provided in the interface, and it's then available in the directives form, which prevents users from selecting unknown or impossible values, but only provides a limited set of choice. So that's all for the policies. Now let's switch to user management. The first major feature in user management field is the introduction of a tenancy concept. Rudder already had ACLs allowing to create user with different sets of rights, user that could only read information, user that could edit directives, and so on. But it was not possible to limit a set of users to a specific set of nodes. And that's what multi-tenancy is about. So you can create tenants, which are like subparts of the server that will link a set of users and a set of nodes. And these users will only see the nodes that are part of the same tenant, allowing to have different teams or different sets of users using the same Rudder server to manage different sets of nodes. For now, it's only limited to read-only accounts, but in Rudder 8.2, it will very likely also include the ability to modify the configuration inside of a given tenant. And the second user management feature is the ability to provision users directly through OpenID Connect. We already supported authentication through OpenID Connect, but it's now possible to completely manage your users outside of Rudder on your OIDC server, totally removing the need for local user management. The whole user management workflow easier if you have an OIDC server in your organization. And the last one is the ability to add information about users. Up until Rudder 8.1, it was only possible to configure a login for each user, but it's now possible to have a display name, email, and any arbitrary field you may want to add. So for example, a phone number. See it on the demo server maybe. So I'll go to user management. I will open my user, and you can see that I can add any field I want to my user. And we'll finish with not a new feature, but it's a modified behavior. We replaced the plugin manager called Rudder Package by a new implementation that makes it a lot more user-friendly and also provides more information about plugins. So for example, if I run Rudder Package list on my server, you will now have a description of what the plugin does and license information directly available through the CLI. And the same for available packages with --all, which shows the plugins available that I can install on my server. The other items in the release notes are more technical ones we won't cover here. So thank you.